If you're anything like me, you've probably spent tons of times rewatching Friends over and over again. But when a show is on the air for over a decade, there's no way they can avoid making a few mistakes. So let's figure out why Joey Tribbiani's agent delivered a baby, how the apartment in front of Monica's seems to get closer and closer with every passing season, and finally, most importantly of all, where the hell is Minsk? Hi, I'm Peter, and you're watching Ossa. We all know how the story starts. Rachel Green flees her wedding and meets everybody in Central Park, and Monica introduces Rachel and Chandler to each other, though judging by all the future references in the show, it seems like they knew each other way before then. In one of the flashbacks from 1987, the characters of Friends all meet each other at a Thanksgiving party in Monica and Ross's parents' house. In season 5, we see yet another flashback where Rachel and Chandler awkwardly check each other out at a dorm party in the 80s, years before the party is set. And then they kiss! So the question arises, what's wrong with their very selective memories? Aren't they sick of meeting each other year after year? Is this the inspiration for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? Or, more likely, have the scriptwriters simply forgotten to answer the question of how these two people met? Anyway, let's move on to slightly smaller slip-ups. In episode 2, we see an early example of the typically funny Friends formula. The inciting incident for all that hilarity? Rachel loses her wedding ring, frantically looks for it, and then finds it in some lasagna. However, in the previous episode when Rachel ran away from her wedding, the ring doesn't appear on her finger in a single scene. Let's take a look. Okay, not there. Maybe... Nope, still not there, Rachel. It's a good thing she finds it by episode 2, or else we might have doubted she was getting married at all. And the next on our hit list is a paleontologist of indeterminate age. Yes, that's right, it's Ross Geller. And I have to say, have you ever seen a cuter nerd?
Yes, he is handsome in an ugly sort of way.
Ross is a famously indecisive character. He flip-flops so much he gives Hamlet a run for his money. So indecisive, in fact, that Ross couldn't come up with his own age or a fixed birthday for himself for a very long time. Let's see. In seasons 3, 4, and 5, Ross claims to be 29. For 3 years. And then in episode 9 of season 4, we learn that all the guys are 29. But Monica is 26 in season 1. So that would make the younger sister older than her older brother by then. And to further complicate matters, when speaking to Joey, Ross says that he was born in December, but a few seasons after that, he remarks that his birthday is October 18th. Another suspiciously shifting side of Ross is his private life. For a long time, he claims that the only woman he's ever been intimate with was his ex-wife Carol. But later, it famously turns out that Ross had sex with a janitor who was later promoted to librarian when he was in 7th grade. Well, which is it, Ross? What else should we know about you? Is this a sequel to The Americans? Are you an undercover spy who got lost in his own cover story? Phoebe Buffay also has a shady past, though her kooky and eccentric character usually covers for any plot holes. Phoebe calmly likes to recall stories from her childhood that sound pretty harrowing to her friends. We know that she grew up in a disadvantaged family and that her father left them way before she was born. Or at least, that's what she says. But in the episode where Phoebe meets her father Frank, he says he was there for her being born and even put her to sleep singing lullabies. Who do you think is lying? And before you decide, check out this photo where vegetarian Phoebe eats a meat lasagna. And on that theme, back to Mr. Geller. He's seen sharing a cone with his monkey, even though he previously said that he hated ice cream. Okay, I need to take a breath. Not only does the overly pedantic Monica like introducing her friends to each other over and over and over again, over the course of many flashbacks, things she already knows often surprise her. In the episode, the one with George Stephanopoulos, Monica is mad when she finds out that Phoebe had sex with Jason a few hours after she broke up with him. And yet, in the episode, the one where Eddie won't go, Monica seems to learn about this for what seems like the first time for her, and it angers her all over again. And we all recall how Chandler told Monica he loved her in front of everyone. I'm in love with Monica. Yes, I love her. I love her. I love you, Monica. Everyone's amazed. Monica's happy. There's a tear in my eye. But wait, he already confessed his love in the one with all the Thanksgivings. Is all that turkey tryptophan causing memory loss? Joey Tribbiani also likes to manipulate his past. True fans know that Joey comes from a stereotypically abundant Italian-American family and has 7 sisters. However, in the episode about Mrs. Bing, Joey says the following about his mother. Do you think it's easy to give birth to 7 children? Now, I know that Joey might have trouble with numbers, but would he really forget to include himself? Or maybe he was adopted. Or maybe Joey believes he was found under a cabbage leaf. Or, yeah, Joey might simply have made an archetypal mistake. He was never much into the hard science, like counting. And by the way, speaking of Joey, you almost certainly remember episode 8 of season 10 where he got his head stuck in Monica's door at Thanksgiving. It was the first Thanksgiving in many years when the friends couldn't sit down at the festive table as Joey fell on it and got food all over his clothes. But when Monica leaves the room and reveals the news that she and Chandler can adopt a baby, Joey's shirt miraculously becomes much cleaner. There's only one little spot of food left. Maybe Monica's meticulous nature has infected her apartment itself, and stains now flee at her very presence. And our friends often get confused not only with their past and birth dates, but also with their own medical histories. In one episode, we find out that when Monica was a child, she used to have a cat, as Ross and Julie are collecting its old toys. Yet in the very next episode, the one with the list, Monica reveals that she's allergic to felines. Monica covers her eyes and nose when Rachel's bald cat is a whole 6 feet away from her, but, well, everyone knows those cats are hypoallergenic, right? And speaking of physical transformations, how about Monica's fluctuating weight? Here's chubby Monica, and here she is dancing. And here she is standing next to Chandler. However, later, Chandler seems very surprised to find out that Monica was ever overweight. Are you serious? How could you ever forget that epic dance? I'm beginning to suspect brain parasites, or maybe a gas leak at one of their apartments. Let's go back to Phoebe again, but this time with a geography question. Hey Phoebe, where's Minsk? Phoebe's boyfriend David is sure it's in Russia. It's mentioned in season 1 and then again in season 7. The guy had 7 years to open up an atlas and figure out that Minsk is actually the capital of Belarus, which is a completely different country. David might as well have flown to Paris, which I guess is somewhere in Spain, right? Or Vienna. Isn't that Australia? Well, perhaps David is simply a very romantic, an intelligent guy, a dreamer with his head in the clouds, but I think it's generally recommended to know which country you live in. And the scriptwriters don't just mess around with space, but also with time. At Monica and Chandler's wedding in May, Rachel is 6 weeks pregnant. On Valentine's Day, she's still pregnant. And Rachel only gives birth at the end of the next season. So that means Rachel was pregnant for a whole year? Really? And there are even more basic errors than that. Like in the episode The One Where Heckles dies. Chandler leaves the room saying, "See ya, Matt." The screenwriters probably thought Matt sounds a bit like man and decided to keep it in. However, it's probably obvious that Matthew Perry just said goodbye to his co-star Matt LeBlanc instead of the character Joey. I mean, I get it, you're on a show for 10 years, things could get a bit confusing. Al Gore didn't create the internet for us to obsess over small details and mistakes. Although, when I read some of the comments under our videos, well, let's not go there, guys. Look, everybody makes mistakes. But here's a whopper. Remember Joey's agent, the charming Estelle? Here she is in an agent's chair, and here she is moonlighting as a nurse, delivering Ross's baby. Maybe she's quite the agent and can spot future stars right at the moment of birth. And here are some more double agents. Here's a passerby who throws a condom into Phoebe's case and then comes back for it. And then sometime after that, the very same guy plays Phoebe's half-brother. And no one remembers the condom situation. Maybe the show had a few changes in casting director. I mean, why else do you think some of the most memorable actors would end up in different roles? How do you feel about this mistake? Let us know in the comments. And let's talk real estate. We thought houses weren't easy to move, but not so in Friends. The apartment block in front of Monica's window is further in one day, and then very close in the next. Perhaps this was a side effect of their neighbor, Ugly Naked Guy. Ugly naked objects may be closer than they appear. And then there's that infamous blooper that's so well known it'd be remiss of me not to mention it. In episode 1, Monica's apartment is number 5, but that later changes to number 20. Chandler and Joey also move from number 4 to number 19. The showrunners even commented publicly about this mistake, confessing that they counted and figured out that apartments 4 and 5 would be too low down in the building. Also, in earlier episodes, we can see wooden beams supporting the walls in Monica's apartment. However, this feature made the shooting process complicated. They had to look for angles where the beams wouldn't cover the characters, and it was easier just to give up on them altogether. But then, why hasn't the ceiling caved in on the characters? I guess it's the magic of TV. Some of the events in the actors' personal lives were reflected in the lives of their on-screen alter egos. For instance, Lisa Kudrow's pregnancy was written into the script, but Courtney Cox's pregnancy in the last season couldn't have been written in, as it was earlier established that Monica and Chandler couldn't have children. So the showrunners decided to simply hide her pregnancy. This bit of movie magic these days would involve several supercomputers worth of CGI, but then it was achieved by the time-honored TV technique known as wearing baggy clothes and filming Courtney Cox from an angle so that her belly was hidden with objects. But despite these foolproof ingenious techniques, sometimes her pregnancy still showed. Still, even if David Crane and Marta Kaufman couldn't control every aspect of the show and messed up a few little things, that doesn't always ruin it for dedicated fans. Fine, I'm done talking discontent. We all love Friends, and I always enjoy making videos about the show. So if you want to see more of these, like the video and leave a comment so that we can all feel your love and support. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. See you soon. Bye.